Hola, mis amores. It's your girl, January Pouncil. I am the guiding light and spiritual guide to intuitive thought leaders that are being the most authentic version of themselves, trusting their inner voice, overflowing with inner peace, and enjoying their lives every single step of the way. And today we're going to be talking about, can we trust our intuition? I've been on the path of trusting my intuition for 13 years. So I feel like I got a few little things I want to share with you that will support you if you are having that question right now. This is actually episode number 10 of my ongoing series that I'm hosting here on my YouTube channel called The Path to Inner Peace. In this theme, every week I like to theme these episodes. And this week, the theme is leading while healing. So, if you are currently a thought leader who is on the path of healing the self, you're going to find this extremely helpful, especially if you are desiring to master the art of authenticity. The people that are going to get the most out of this video are those of us that are in a commitment to being the most authentic version of ourselves, being unapologetic about our authenticity, and showing up as that version of us, no matter who is in the room. And it's for those of us that desire to go through the journey of authenticity, overflowing with mental calm and inner peace, so that we can be in the present moment and really be there and enjoy being there, because there are a lot of beautiful things happening in the now. So, why am I talking about this? I know I got my notes. Before I started trusting my inner voice at a conscious level, before I started trusting my intuition, I used to feel very lost all the time. And it used to be the type of feeling that, to be honest, it was extremely uncomfortable to sit with, because I'm someone that is used to having answers. I am someone that is used to knowing what to do. In the moments when I am not listening to my intuition, or I haven't listened to my intuition, have been moments where I felt really disoriented and I felt like I wasn't living my life. And I think about a specific moment where that happened. I remember working in New York. I was working in New York for an organization, and I had been working in this place for years. It had been I want to say maybe 3 years. And my intuition was like, it's time to move on, to leave this role. And I just did not listen to my intuition about it. I did not receive what it was saying. And actually, that's not really how it happened. Now that I'm sitting with it, people around me were telling me it was time to go, and my intuition was like, not yet. And at first, I was feeling like the people in my circle weren't being supportive, especially my husband, because he wasn't my husband at the time, he was my boyfriend at the time. And he was like, girl, you could leave. There's other jobs you could go. And I simply was having a really hard time doing that. I was having a hard time walking away. And this is why I know how important it is to listen to our inner voice. This is why I know how critical it is to show up to the intuitive nudges that we get, because I've been on the other side of that. And I've also been on the side when my intuition has asked me to do things and I've done it. In the moments when I've done that, y'all, my life has been magical. And today I'm actually going to share with you one specific example that left me feeling speechless about the power of trusting my intuition. So there are four things. Before I get into the four things you're going to learn today, I actually want to talk to those of you that are the thought leaders, because you're like me. I'm also a thought leader, which is also interesting to call myself that. I'm actually getting more and more comfortable utilizing that language to describe myself, because I am. So the reason why it's important for us specifically to look at trusting ourselves and trusting our intuition is because being authentic, y'all, requires trust. It is a non-negotiable for authenticity to be able to trust ourselves. And it's not just ourselves that we have to trust, that we get to trust in this process. And I'm going to get into what else is going to be important that we trust when I'm getting into this video later on in this video. It's also important that we know that trust is critical for us because most of us have learned to trust other people before ourselves. I am a mother now, and I can see how we are taught to trust our mother. We're taught to trust the teacher. We are taught to trust the authority above ourselves. And one thing I know, and I know, is that our intuition is the only voice that knows our path. It knows our path better than anybody else. Even when I'm working with my clients, I know that whatever I am sharing with them is to be guiding them back to their intuition because their intuition knows the real way. I am only there to guide them back to themselves and help them see the things that they may have been avoiding. The intuition is the one that guides us, y'all. And this is why I'll be talking about this today, because most times we're not listening to that voice with the energy that we know is going to serve us, So here are the 4 things y'all going to learn today. Number 1, I'm going to share with you the number 1 reason why trusting my intuition is a non-negotiable for me. Number 2, I'm going to share with you what trusting myself looks like as a thought leader in the path to inner peace, because I'm committed to doing this journey peacefully. And number 3, I'm going to show you 3 ways that trusting myself has made my life 1,000 times better, because I know that these are the same changes that are possible for you. And I want you to expand your idea of what's possible. And I'm going to give you the bonus for staying with me to the end. I'm going to share with you the best way to trust yourself so that you can be more authentic and up-level your inner peace. And to do it with ease, because that's what I'm all about. So before I jump into these gems, I want to talk to those of you that are ready for the next step. If you know that you want to come play with me and you want to come work with your girl, you are ready to take your authenticity to the next level, and you know that you want me to be the one to walk you through this process, in the description below this video, there is a link to apply to work with me. What you're going to do is be able to book a authenticity audit with me. And these are sessions for those of you that are serious about being the best version of yourself, being the most authentic version of yourself, no matter what's happening in your life, and doing it full of inner peace and joy. So click on the link below this video and in the description box, and let's co-create some magic together. So, here's what I want to share with y'all. In 2000 and, when did this happen? 2010? Yeah, 2010, I graduated from undergrad, and I moved back to Honduras. Plot twist. I moved back to Honduras because I didn't have a job here. I graduated actually at the height of the recession at the time. And when I graduated, there was no jobs. I had 2 bachelors, and I had been applying for work for 6 months, and I had nothing to show for it at a graduation. And I had planned this trip to go to Honduras to celebrate that I was graduating from college. I was actually really excited to do that because I wanted to celebrate. And then when I graduated and I had no job, I'm like, what are we really celebrating here? Like, this feels kind of dumb now. And at the same time, I hadn't seen my family in a while. I hadn't really spent time with them. So I'm like, okay, let me just go back home. So this was a trip that was originally scheduled to be a summer trip. While I was in Honduras, I started toying with the idea of staying. 2 of my cousins, they were like, yo, you don't have no job, you don't got no man, you don't got no kids. Like, you can definitely just stay. And I sat with it, and I was like, I don't know, God. I don't know if I want to do that. My intuition was like, hey, be open. And I said, I'm going to go looking for work. If I find work, I'm going to stay. The first place where I went to look for work was an institute that was helping students with their English, and they would help them, I believe, do testing, and they were in alignment with what I could do because I spoke really well English, and I was a tutor before. Anyways, I go in there, and they hired me on the spot. And I was like, okay, God, this is interesting. So that led to me being in Honduras for what became a year. And when I'd stayed in Honduras at the time, it's really when my now husband and I, we got to really get to know each other, because he was here in New York, in Flint, Michigan. Or actually, I think he was in New York at the time, but he was in the States and I was back home. And we used to talk all the time. And during that time that I was there, I realized, oh my goodness, I have feelings for this person. And there's nothing like having feelings for somebody after you told yourself you wasn't going to have feelings for that person. And that's what happened with my husband and I. Like, I told myself, like, yeah, this is just fun, blah, 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 blah. And this is nothing serious. And I'm in Honduras and we're building this relationship. We're talking all the time. And I find myself being like, I really like this person. I want this person to be my husband, or I want to create with this person. Because at the time I wasn't sure I wanted marriage just yet, but I remember being like, this is my person. I want to be with this person. So you can imagine how interesting that got, because number one, I already said I want a relationship at the beginning. And number two, now I want this person to be my person. Like, I didn't even have a person. And during this time, my intuition guided me to do something, y'all, that blew my mind. My intuition was like, pray for this person and commit to this person if this is what you really want to do. Now, you're probably looking at me crazy, because I was looking at me crazy too. Like, the whole thing just sounds bizarre. Anyways, I was like, okay. So what I started to do, trusting that nudge to like really go for it and really commit myself to this, I began to pray for my now husband. Every single day I will go to work. I will walk to my job from my house, and I will pray every single day for him, for my family, for us being together, for, he being my partner, and I will give gratitude for him an entire year. And the whole time, to add even more crazy to crazy, the whole time my husband is living his life. He is being single, living his life, and I'm not communicating any of these things to him, because this is not between me and him. This is between me and my intuition, me and God. So I made that decision. I was going to pray for him. I also made a decision that I wasn't going to entertain no randos while I was out there, that I was going to be really focused. And I also made a decision that I was going to commit to this partnership, and I was going to pray for our partnership, and that it didn't matter what was going on out there, that I was going to trust that this is the person that my intuition and God has told me this is the person for me. And I understand, I hear myself, I hear everything I'm saying to you. And this is what happens when you trust your intuition. This is what's possible, because I've been with my husband for 13 years. Actually, I've been with my husband, 2011. No, I've been with my husband for, it's going to be 12 years. Is it 12 or 11 years? That's how long it's been. So even though this sounds crazy, it was crazy to me, and I was living it. He just showed me that I could trust my intuition. The number one reason why trusting my intuition is a non-negotiable for me is because I've seen it at work. It's because my intuition, when he speaks to me, it doesn't play about me. And I've said that in the previous video. And it is non-negotiable for me to do that, because I am committed to authenticity. And authenticity means being in alignment, being in truth with what it is that's coming up for me. And when my intuition spoke to me and was like, yo, go be with this person, like, this is going to be your person, like, commit to this person, I could have not listened, because of how crazy it sounded. And at the same time, because I listened and I allowed myself to be in that space with it, because I trusted that inner voice, I allowed things to be what they were by focusing on myself. And during that time, don't get me wrong, there were moments where I was like, is this really going to happen? Like, my husband, we were long distance for a little bit. He broke up with me twice. There were moments that I was like, I don't know if this is really going to happen, because it's not looking like I wanted to look, the mathing. And at the same time, it showed me the power of trust. It showed me the power of trust. And this is why this is non-negotiable for me, because being authentic requires that I trust myself. It requires that I trust God. It requires that I trust the process. It requires that I trust other people. So when my husband was out here living his life, I'm like, I'm going to trust whatever's going on with him, and I'm going to focus on myself. And I know how important that is. And that's what happens when we trust when we trust our intuition. That's what it looks like, y'all. The second thing I want to share with you is what trusting myself looked like as a thought leader in the path to inner peace. The number one thing has been going against what feels safe. It's very easy to stay in the comfort zone. I see myself being in the comfort zone all the time because I don't want to go out there and look into the unknown. Like, I'm human. The fear of the unknown comes up for me as well. And it's easier to stay confined. However, I know that when I step outside of that, when I trust, I'm willing to go against what feels safe. The second thing is seeing my actions for what they are. The beautiful thing about trust is that it really is about you taking responsibility for yourself and looking at yourself differently. And that means seeing how you show up, seeing how you're really acting. And it has been really great to see that for me as a thought leader because I do hold myself at a higher standard, and I'm realizing that that standard I'm holding myself at is so high that even I'm not able to meet it. So it's helping me calibrate to what it's really like for me to be in alignment with the highest version of myself. And the third thing I would say is enjoying my life. Being a thought leader on this path to inner peace, it's so important that I am enjoying my life. And as I'm trusting myself more and more, I allow myself to enjoy my life because it's very easy to get caught up in everything that's going on out there. It's very easy to feel like you got survival remorse. It's very easy to feel like, there are people starving over there and you need to be sad about it. You need to feel terrible about it. And that doesn't help. Sadness doesn't bring out joy. Joy, though, can have the power to release sadness. And when we are in a more joyful place, we can be more loving and more kind to each other. And then we can have space for things from a different perspective. And suddenly we can have a different type of impact. Now I want to share with you the 3 ways trusting myself has made my life 1,000 times better. It really has, though. It really has been 1,000 times, not even an accurate description of what has happened in my life, to be honest with y'all. The first thing I will share is the first way trusting myself has made my life 1,000 times better is allowing me to be in a state of equanimity. Being in a state of equanimity means being calm in the midst of chaos. That's an oversimplification, but that's what it comes down to. And when I learned this word for the first time, I was like, that's what I want to be on. That's the shit I want to be on. No matter what's going on, she wants to be the eye of the storm, chilling, calm. Because life kind of feels like that, like sometimes. Not all the time. There are times that it feels like that, though. And I really felt connected to that. And because I've been able to trust myself and I trust my intuition, I'm able to be in that calm. The moments when JP and I were broken up, I was able to be in that calm. The moments when I moved to Honduras and there were some challenges with me and how I was living because the standard of living is different, and I actually ended up getting a different job from the one I told you about. I was able to be calm. Trusting myself has allowed me to be in a state where I'm not letting my moods run the show, because I can be very fucking moody. One second I'm feeling super good and the next second I'm like depressed in the corner. And I know that's possible for me. So I gotta make sure that I'm checking on myself about this. I gotta make sure that I'm being honest with myself about, you can go from 0 to 1,000 like this, babes. So let's be honest about where we are and let's allow ourselves to be calm in the middle of it. And that has come from me trusting myself. The second way it has made my life better is I'm not trying to control nobody. I have really allowed myself to embrace the releasing of the things I can, or wanting to control other people. I was so addicted to wanting to control other people. I always wanted to be like, okay, how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I do it? And to be honest with y'all, this is how I know my partnership with my husband is a divine partnership, because that was something that God helped me release in that situation. Because honestly, I was not pressed about controlling JP at all. That's not the energy he's on. However, I've been really pressed about trying to control other people, whether it be in my clients, whether it be in my family members at the time, definitely family members, being how my friends and how like things, how they see me in situations. Like the type of control I wanted was, I wanted to control how people see me. I want to control how people feel about me. I want to control all these things that really are not mine to control. And it used to drive me nuts, and it was exhausting. And it just feels so good that that's not something I'm pressed by. That I can let people be who they are. That the same way I desire for people to let me be who I am, I'm able to do for other people. Whether they know it or not. Whether they give me a pat on the back or not. It's just who I am. That's just who I am now. I'm just that person that be like, yeah, I see you. You going through your process. Be blessed. I'm that person now, and I love it for me. And the last thing I want to say is that the third way in which trusting myself has made my life 1,000 times better is enjoying my life no matter what's going on. There's been so much shit happening in my life. When you have a business, there are so many things that can go wrong. There are so many things that can challenge you and stretch you. And I say wrong in quotation marks because it doesn't mean that it is wrong. However, to the part of the version of myself that's in that moment, it feels like it's wrong. It feels like it's the worst thing that could be happening to me. And in those moments, it feels like I'm being punished, or it used to feel like I was being punished. I remember when JP broke up with me the first time, I just felt such deep pain in my heart, and I was crying out to God, like, why is this happening to me? This is terrible. I thought this was the person. I thought we agreed on this conversation, Lord. And I just remember being so hurt because of how attached I was to this thing I created in my mind and to who this person needed to be and what their role needed to be in my life. And I see why it was important for me to release it. And once I released it, what came back was so much more beautiful and grounded in love and in acceptance. And this is why I'm such an advocate for trusting our intuition, because my life is just so much more joyful because of it. There are times when it does feel uncomfortable to be this way. Oftentimes it feels very fucking uncomfortable to be this way. Because there are always things that are going to happen. Life, change is going to occur. And the biggest change of all is going to be our transition into our, wherever we came from through death. That's going to happen. And that can feel really scary. And what has helped me in this process, thanks to trusting myself, is enjoying every moment. And you all know how hard it is to enjoy yourself until it's time to enjoy yourself. So I'm going to share the bonus with y'all. But before I do that, I want to talk to those of you that are ready. Do you desire my one-on-one support? Do you desire my one-on-one support being the most authentic version of yourself in 2024? Because I already know 2024 is going to be your year. Like I told you, every year is your year. That's what happens when you are an icon. That's what happens when you are a thought leader. That's what happens when you move in the energy of authenticity. Every year is your year. The question is, do you desire to have me with you this year so that you can show up and show out in your life? If so, right now I am enrolling clients for 2024, y'all, especially for a very beautiful love offering I have called the Self-Trust Society. The Self-Trust Society is a 12-month container for authenticity. I call it an authenticity container because it's all about being the most authentic version of yourself and showing up powerfully to yourself, surrounded by people that are going to hold you accountable, celebrate you, and hold space for your journey of transformation. And I'm excited that you may be considering being a part of this container, because we're going to have a whole vibe. And the way that we do this is, my mouth dry, y'all. Hold on. Oh, much better. We're going to get together for 12 months. And during those 12 months, we're going to pull together your system, your own system for tapping into your intuition and being able to collapse the time it takes you to act on it. Because I know you hear what your intuition said. I hear what my intuition said. The challenge is acting on it at the level that we desire, is being able to go for it without investing hours, months, years, questioning and doubting what's possible for ourselves. So I have opened up in my calendar 5 authenticity audits. Now, if you see here in the description box, you can actually buy these authenticity audits because that's how powerful they are and that's why I sell them. However, I am opening up 5 of them for those of you that are serious about taking your authenticity to the next level in 2024 and desire to do it with me. And what we're going to do, we're going to chat and go through where you are right now, what's impacting you, and what can we do to take you to that next level with ease, with flow, with joy, so that you can also be overflowing with inner peace like the dope clients that I work with. So if you want parts of that, click in the description box below, and let's co-create some magic together, mis amores. Okay, bonus time. Let me get a sunflower in the comments if you want this bonus. So the best way to trust yourself to up-level your inner peace as the most authentic version of yourself, to be the most authentic version of yourself as you overflow with inner peace, is to accept yourself. Honestly, there was so much self-rejection I was experiencing as a thought leader and as a guide, because I had this belief that I had to be perfect, that I had to have it all together, that if I didn't have it together, then somehow that decreased the quality of the transformation I was delivering. There were all these beliefs that were taking over my mind and impacting my ability to show up powerfully. And the way I was able to really trust myself in that moment, it was through self-acceptance. Accept yourself, accepting that, yes, and there are moments that I feel like that, and there are moments that I feel amazing. Accepting that there are moments that I show up powerfully, and that there may be moments that I shrink. Hold on, y'all. Okay. And accepting that that is happening to me. Accepting that I am a leader and I am iconic and I am a fucking badass and I am human. And because I am human, I also have those moments where I doubt myself. I have moments where I reject myself. Accepting that that's part of my reality. Because oftentimes that's one of the things that we are avoiding. And when we are avoiding accepting that about ourselves, we are avoiding releasing it, because we're not willing to see it for what it is. And a big part of this process is going to require you to be uncomfortably honest with yourself. Like, be uncomfortably honest with yourself. Y'all, it is lit in Florida right now. Be uncomfortably honest with yourself. Be willing to do the hard thing for you. Be willing to see your greatness by acknowledging the peaks as much as you acknowledge the valleys. Be willing to step up to yourself with a different energy and see yourself as a co-creator with God. Be willing to do that by accepting everything that comes in the package, not just the things that you don't like. And I know this is going to feel a little uncomfortable at times, especially as you are going through those valleys, as you're going through seasons that really stretch you and challenge you. And if you're in those moments present in yourself and you're seeing that that's occurring, give yourself room to accept who you are. And if you desire to be supported through that, consider applying for one of those authenticity audits, because this is what we're going to help you do. This is what I'm going to help you do, because it's going to be me all up in there giving you all of this icon energy. So come get you some. All right. So for the next video, I'm going to be covering trauma, triggers, and triumphs. I'm going to be sharing with you, I'm going to do a deep dive actually. I'm going to do a deep dive into what it takes to learn from the trauma and leverage the triggers. I know y'all not leveraging the triggers how I'm leveraging the triggers. Leveraging the triggers and turn them into your triumphs. Thank you so much for joining me today, mis amores. For those of you that are submitting your application for one of those authenticity audits, I look forward to seeing you on the other side. My name is Yanori Pouncil. I am the guiding light and spiritual guide to thought leaders that are being the most authentic version of themselves, trusting their inner voice, overflowing with inner peace, and enjoying every step of the way. And I am here to mature the you see things clearly. Remember, you are a vibe. Hasta luego, mis amores. See you in the next video.